Alright, today let's talk about how to understand microswitches and what they do. This is an Omron clone microswitch available from Foam Blast. They'll have different amp ratings on them, different sizes depending on what kind of switch it is. But generally they'll have 3 posts, a lever arm, a little button underneath that lever arm. Now you're going to want to look at your switch and get familiar with it. There are 3 different tabs you can solder to. One of them, on this one it happens to be this one, is labeled COM, C-O-M, or Common, C-O-M-M-O-N. Okay, so this one always has something to do with current. One of them is going to be listed as NO. That doesn't stand for no, don't use it. That stands for normally open. So in the normal resting position, that means there's not a connection between here and here, but when you press it down, there's now a connection between here and here. Okay? The other tab is going to have an NC, standing for normally closed. So in the normal resting position, this and this are connected. However, when you press this, they are no longer connected. Okay. Now, if for some reason your switch isn't labeled, or unfortunately you can't read it, there is another way to tell, and it's by using a tool called a multimeter. Okay, so this is a multimeter. There's going to be a setting that's going to have the little omega symbol that stands for ohms. That will tell you resistance. And you have 2 probes, a black probe and a red probe. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the black probe and hold that to the COM. Okay, now we're going to touch our red probe to this first one, which I happen to know is normally open. If you notice, that still shows a 1. That means it's open. Okay, now if I touch it to the normally closed, you'll notice that goes nearly to 0. Now we can also test and see by holding down, leaving this connected to the COM. The switch is now depressed. If I touch the red lead here, the normally closed, or the normally open, now becomes closed and goes down to 0, while the normally closed becomes open and shows that there's no connectivity there. And that's briefly how a microswitch works.